Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Let's Talk Wealth podcast. This is the podcast where we are focused on having authentic conversations with interesting people. I'm Robert Montez, have my co-host, Ms. Josie Allred. Can you say hi?
Oh, yeah, no, I can definitely say hi.
She's just going to sit there and say nothing.
I thought you were going to keep going.
Let's just make it awkward right out the gate.
I don't think you've ever asked me to say hi.
I introduce you 60% of the time, all the time.
Wait for me to say hi.
I mean, you usually are like, hi, you know.
No, I've never liked that.
Okay, we're off to a great start today, guys. And then super pumped to introduce Mr. Graysen. Graysen is one of the other advisors on our team over at Nexus Wealth Management. Graysen has been with me for, I don't even know, since what, 2017?
Yeah.
For a while, and he's behind the scenes. He is the man who keeps everything running. He is the person who organizes everything so that my scattered big picture mind can bring things to light and kind of hopefully make them work. And appreciate you, man. I really do. Graysen has become one of my absolute best friends in the world, and probably, other than my immediate family, the person I trust most in the world. So,
well, thank you, Rob. Very kind, and I share your sentiments as well. And it's great to be here, get out from behind the computer screen and do something fun here. This is great.
Yeah. So, Graysen's got a chance to see everything, but this is the first time us having him on the podcast. And that kind of goes into today's episode as a whole, is us trying to do something different. A lot of our podcasts are a little bit, not more serious, but just more conversational, us trying to talk to people, really hear their stories and just give people the chance to share, their authentic stories and what's going on with them, with the hope that it can help people just live a more fulfilled and wealthy life. Not necessarily wealthy in like, oh, I got to make all this money, but wealthy in that I'm happier, I have a higher quality of life, I am making more money, of course, that's good too. But today, we're going to switch it up. Josie, why don't you tell people what we're doing today?
Okay. Damn, I feel like I'm like not even the co-host. I feel like I'm the main host now.
I know, I'm putting you on the spot.
Okay, so I think the idea with today is that at some point we were having a team meeting and we were talking about things on social media that come off as maybe not the most correct or funny things that could be taken the wrong way, and all the misinformation that are out there. And I think that it would be pretty valuable for people to be able to listen to a couple advisors sitting in a room who do this every single day, work with hundreds of clients, hundreds of different households in every single walk of life, and be able to see some of the videos that people are putting out there, because social media is such a big part of our world. And really dive into what they're trying to say, what's accurate, maybe what's not so accurate, what could be funny, and what's true. And so I think that that's where we're at, and what we're going to talk about today is kind of do some reviews on some of the stuff that we've seen online, where we can just kind of give our thoughts and talk a little bit about the content.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And so just to kind of give you guys as the viewers a little bit of background, none of us have seen the other videos that people are bringing. So we have no idea what we're walking into. The idea is that we are going to play a video. We're going to have it linked so that you guys can see the video as well. Obviously, you guys have all seen reaction videos, so you know what that is. And then we'll just kind of give our 2 cents and we'll see where it goes. And, we'll talk for as long as we want to on a given video and then kind of keep it moving. So should we hop into it? You guys ready?
Let's do it.
All right. Who wants to go first? Who has one that they want to start with? Or if not, I'll just pick one.
Go ahead, just pick one.
All right, these are the ones I had. So
let's start with yours. All right.
I hope these are in the order that I listed them when I saved them. So yes, let's go. All right. Make sure you guys ready.
He looks like a finance bro.
Oh, this is a finance bro through and through. All right. Let's maybe turn the sound on.
$100,000 watch without spending a single dollar of your own money, using business credit like this that you never actually have to pay back. Not for the average person, guys. This sounds crazy, but any business owner knows how this works. How personal credit works. Let's say, for example, you will get a car or a credit card in your personal name. You're personally held responsible.
I love that he's in the pool, just floating around on a floaty.
Max the card out. You're gonna be held liable if you don't make that payment back. The bank can come and sue
What if
you.
I told you there was a way to buy things like this $100,000 watch without spending a single dollar of your own money, using business credit like this that you never actually have to pay back? How I got this watch, I was able to open a business that I didn't really give a shit about. I went and opened business credit cards in that
He's gonna
account.
file bankruptcy.
I then proceeded to go on, buy this for $100,000. I'm going to turn around and sell it to a jeweler for $80,000 in cash, which now gives me the cash. I'll file bankruptcy on the company. I'll never have to actually pay it back because I'm not personally liable for that American Express card. It's all liable.
Graysen's just getting stressed out over there.
It's all weird to explain in one video, but guys, if you're interested in getting involved in this and you can use some extra easy money now, I want you to go to Instagram in my bio.
Wait,
and
can you go
ahead and
into the
DM me.
comments?
I don't know if the comments. Let's see here.
Over there,
So I'm not
one
gonna
more
charge you to
over.
learn.
This one?
On the left.
This one.
No.
Dang it. What happened? I broke it. Dang it. I did break it.
No, just press the
X,
yeah,
there
and
you
then
go.
go to the No, that's the likes. Go
Rob,
way
you're-
over
I'm-
to the
I'm
left.
normally
so
not on my
old
computer
right
when
now.
I'm doing this.
Left, just go to the
Just take the mouse, Josie. Save me. I normally am doing this on my phone, people. Okay.
I'm
Oh
trying
my
to tell you
God.
where it is, but I
Don't go-
can't tell my left from my right, so I'm like, go.
Oh, I can't see it. It's behind the camera. All right. I couldn't see that.
Oh, you have to log in. Do you have an X account?
I don't use X that much. All right. So no, I don't. Let's just not get to the comments there. But all right, guys. So that was my favorite one I found this morning. What are your thoughts on Finance Bros advice here?
Holy cow. If you start a business, you are absolutely liable for things that business does and debt that business creates.
Not according to this dude. I mean, he's floating around in the pool. He's got it figured out.
And he's got a watch, so he definitely knows what he's doing.
$100,000 watch that he's gonna sell back to a jeweler for $80,000. I mean,
Also, I don't think that you can sell it back higher than a retail cost.
well, he's saying he's probably gonna take it like to a pawn shop or something. So he bought it for $100,000.
Yeah.
He's gonna sell it for $80,000 to someone else who can turn around and sell it for like $90,000 or something. You see, that's what his advice is.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So Josie, what would you say to the people? What's your take on this great financial advice we're seeing?
Jesus.
Jesus. Oh Lord.
I just think that it's just like a quick money grab, and you are completely liable
Yeah.
for that.
It seems totally unethical
And it's
for
just-
one.
It's fraud.
It's-
This is fraud right here. Just so everyone knows.
But it's short. It's so short term, and it's
Yeah.
like that's not wealth. First of all,
Yeah.
because it's so short term.
And I think too, like if you guys are watching this dude, first of all, buddy, I hope things worked out for you because you just admitted to fraud and then posted that fraud online. So I'm hoping this is a joke. I really am.
So I want to see the comments.
Yeah. And then the other thing too for this is that it's not like these businesses that have credit cards, like they're not dumb. They're not going to fall for this. You will 100% be held liable for this. And it's going to suck. So
That's assuming this isn't a joke.
I hope so. But again, you can never tell. That's the bad thing, isn't it? It's like, is it a joke? I don't think any of us know. All right. So let's go back. Josie, I want to pull up one of yours.
Mine are like as crazy. I think it's more. Okay, just click on that.
This one? All right.
Sure.
Let's see what we got here. Why is it not? There's no sign. Oh, there you go. Let's try this again. There you go.
One account every kid under 18 must have. I opened it up for you last year. And it does two things. Number one, it's a tax-free retirement account. Number two,
This is not the right one?
I don't think I sent. I sent the wrong one. Just go to a different one that I sent.
Okay. I actually like where this was going, though.
We can finish
yeah,
it.
you
pull out the
I just didn't send this one over.
whatever you want for the down payment for your house without any penalties. The average person buys a home at 35. You're 11 years old right now, and the stock market makes about 9% a year.
Yeah.
So if we already have $9,000 in there since last year when you started your job. You have to have a job.
Yeah.
This year we're going to put in $7,500, and every year they allow like a $500 more increment.
Okay.
So from 11 to 35, by the time you want to buy a house, $275,000. You can use that to buy a house. Contribution, no penalties.
Yeah.
Your gains during that time will be about $650,000. Let's say we never put a single dollar in there after 35.
Yeah.
By the time you retire, you're going to have over $5 million. So this account, down payment money, done.
Is he talking about
Retirement money,
insurance
done.
policy?
You don't have to do a single thing. And I picked the 4 ETFs already put in there,
Might be
so
like
it
a
invests
UL,
by
Fair
itself.
Universe Life
So
policy.
you don't have to worry about picking a stock or picking an ETF or any type of investment.
Okay. Thank you. But how can a kid find a job?
You already have a job. You're doing the social media stuff online, and then you also help me out, and I pay you as a self-employed person.
Okay.
No,
All right?
All right.
that's all correct.
job.
He's talking about a Roth IRA.
Yeah, to have a Roth. Okay, number one bank. So that's I missed it. So he said number one bank account to have Roth IRA. Okay, So
the only thing I saw in there that wasn't quite correct, there's a dollar amount that you can take out for your first time home purchase, tax and penalty free. He's saying as if you could take the whole amount. Not quite true, but still everything else in there seemed right, and he is right. The sooner you get started, the time is the biggest factor in how well you do financially. And I tell you, I get excited when we get parents starting stuff for their kids, or the 18-year-old starting stuff, even though they're only like $50 a month. Dude, where you're going to be compared to where I even was, it just makes me happy.
So, okay, what would you say if a parent was looking at this and they're like, okay, should I do this? And maybe their financial advisor is talking to them about a UTMA.
So here's the thing with the Roth IRA play. What he said is almost correct. What Graysen hit on first is right, because he talked about putting in $9,000 in 1 year. So you could technically get $9,000 into an IRA in 1 year, but you'd have to do a prior year contribution plus hit the max, which is what, $7,500 right now. So if you did a prior year contribution before the tax filing deadline, then you did the $7,500. Yeah, you could get $9,000 in 1 year. Other than that, the max, if you're under the age of 50, $7,500. With this compared to a UTMA, he's also right. You do have to have earned income. Okay. So if the child doesn't have a real job, where he's really getting paid, it's not going to work. What the dad is not talking about as well is that now you have to have the child on payroll. Payroll means they have to file taxes. They have to have a W-2. So this child has to have his own tax return. So there's costs associated with this, and it has to be a legitimate task paid at a legitimate wage for the child. So you could do this. You can't pull out the entire amount for a house. You can pull up to $10,000 of the earnings, I believe, unless they've changed that. They change it every couple of years. But the nice thing with the Roth IRA is your cost basis is always available because it's already taxed. So we do see people use Roth IRAs pretty regularly where they'll put the money in. They'll let that money grow. And let's say someone put in, $10,000 and it grew to be worth 15. You can pull out the 10 whenever you want, tax and penalty free. So it's just the 5 if you pull that out beforehand. That's what you get penalized on. But for this specific situation, the house thing is possible, but you're really only pulling out your cost basis plus up to $10,000 of the earnings. If you pull out more than that, it's no longer a qualified disbursement. It's not the worst advice. The UTMA, though, I think a UTMA, so U stands for Uniform Transfers to Minors Act. That's an irrevocable gift to a child that they can use for anything that's for the benefit of the child. You have one parent or one adult who's the custodian. It just depends.
More into it too.
Yeah, there's no limits. There's no limits. You don't get the preferential tax-free growth, but what you do get with the UTMA is that the first $1,250 of earnings per year is tax-free. The next $1,250 that a child earns in that year is taxed at the child's tax rate, which for most children with no income is they're in a 0% capital gains tax bracket. So that's also tax-free-ish, all right? And then after that, it's taxed at the parents' in their parents' tax bracket. So I think a UTMA, it's going to be easier for most people. You don't have to have earned income. And let's be honest, most kids don't have earned income. They're not filing a tax return. So
we actually have a lot of parents that come in and ask to open IRAs for their kids.
Yeah.
But I do like this strategy if somebody's looking longer term. So the UTMAs are great if their whole goal is, I want to give my kid a head start, and they can use that however they want. The idea is that they're going to use this money in their 20s to get a head start in life. If they're looking further than that, I love this idea. If he's starting at 11, if the father funds that, because the father can pay it, it's just limited to the amount that the child earns. For 10 years, at 21, he has $75,000 in that, assuming no growth at all. The compound interest of that is probably right around $5 million, like you said. It's incredible.
Yeah.
And his retirement is set. Even if he doesn't put another dollar in there, holy cow.
And assuming his income doesn't go up.
Well, his income doesn't matter as long as his income is greater than the minimum.
But I'm saying his income will most likely go up, so it's not just the $5 million. He's also going to be able to start earning more.
Yeah, 401k. He's also going to be doing other things.
Just pulling up a compound interest calculator here. So let's just say, let's say that they did this. So again, with this one, the Roth IRA or any IRA, you can put in up to the maximum or the maximum earned income you have. So like if the child only makes $4,000 in a year, you can only put $4,000 into the IRA. You can't put the $7,500. But let's just say, let's just start this. Let's say we did $5,000, and let's say you split that up. I think it's 5,000 divided by 12 is like 483, something like that. I'm a little bit off probably. So don't kill me in the comments, guys. Let's say we did that for the child for the next, let's say he does that for 40 years because he's young, and that will put him in his 50s, and he gets a 9% rate of return. Yeah, $2.1 million. Not horrible. Tax free. Yeah, not the worst idea. So that one wasn't that bad.
That's only 51 years. If you add 10 more years on that and he retires at 61, look at the difference.
Yeah, he's going to have
$5 million.
Yeah, $5.1 million. So not the worst advice. Again,
it's not suitable for everybody.
Yeah.
And the other thing that we see is parents wanting to do this. They're very altruistic. They want to give their kids everything, but they don't have their self set up. Okay, so the priority number one is you and your own retirement. Yes, this is great to get your kids set up, but you don't want your kids to be supporting you.
Yeah.
It's like those airplane,
put the mask
signs,
on.
put your mask on first.
Yeah. I was just thinking that analogy. I use that all the time. I wonder where you learned that from, right?
Yeah.
I wonder who I work with every single day.
I've heard this before. I was literally thinking about that. All right, that was a good one. Wasn't the one we were going for. Let's see what else we got here. Let's try this one. So Tyler got for us.
Here is the real cost of paying a financial advisor 1%. I did the math, so you'd get mad. I'm Tyler. I'm a former financial advisor and portfolio manager, and now I make financial content for free so you don't have to pay for it. Number one, invest $500,000 at 1%. Sounds like $5,000. Except when your portfolio grows, so does their fee. Over 20 years at 7% growth, that 1% costs you $270,000. That's not a fee. It's a beach house you just gave your advisor for putting you in 3 Vanguard funds you could have bought yourself. Number two, and what do they actually do? Most are putting you in the equivalent of VTI, BND, and VXUS, and then rebalancing once a year. 45 minutes of work. You're paying $270,000 for 15 hours of labor spread over 2 decades. Number three, so if you need help, pay an hourly or flat fee. A one-time plan can cost $1,500 to $3,000, and an hourly advisor can run $200 to $400 an hour. You get the same advice without handing them $250,000 over 20 years of compounded fees. And if any of this is helpful, sign up for my free weekly newsletter by clicking the link in my bio, and each week I'll send you over another money playbook that actually works. Here is the real call.
All right. I know what I want to say, but I always take these conversations over. So, Josie, what are your thoughts?
I think that, like you said, not everything is 100% wrong. It's just contextually wrong in the sense of our firm, because we're not doing a lot of things that other advisors are doing. There's definitely lazy advisors out there. There's definitely advisors that are going to take a big commission or a big cut or anything like that. So I just think it's not necessarily true for us.
Yeah.
And the other thing is fee-based advisors versus transactional-based, like he's talking about. When there's a fee, you're both on the same side of the counter. You both have a vested interest in accomplishing the goal set out for that plan. If you just come to an advisor and says, okay, I just want a one-time fee, get me started, and he sells you into these funds, well, he's getting a big commission right up front and has no interest on what the account does or doesn't do from then on. Mm-hmm. So from a transactional standpoint, you have to wonder, if you don't buy that, is he still happy?
I would look at it too, as far as like what he's saying. He's not wrong. There are some advisors that will do this. They'll put you in an index fund at Vanguard, and then they'll charge you a 1% fee. That's garbage. That's a horrible play. However, you have to play the other side of this. So there's a lot of studies on this. Probably the best known one is the Dalbar study, the quantitative analysis of investment behavior. This is a study that, for the listeners out there, every year, Dalbar goes out there and they measure how investors are doing as a whole when it comes to their money management. And what they find year after year after year is, if you look over a 30-year block of time, the average investor is getting somewhere around a 4 to maybe, depending on the block of time, they look between a 4 and a 6% rate of return. Meanwhile, the market in that same period of time is typically earning around 10 to 11%. So even if it's a 4 versus 10, all right, if you took a one-time $10,000 investment over 30 years and you average 4%, it's going to grow to around $32,000. If you did it at 30 years, that same $10,000 grows to about $182,000. So it's a huge amount of money that's being left on the table. It's not just the investments, it's the planning as a whole. When you have a comprehensive planner, the way that we do things, and someone's talking to you about, yes, your long-term investing, but not just giving you off-the-shelf retail-style investments, but giving you institutional-grade, portfolio management that you cannot get on your own, where you have a team of active managers with discretionary trading authority who are handling every single aspect, the research, the buying, the selling, the tax mitigation, the tax loss harvesting, everything, as just that's one part of it. But then you throw in the short-term investments. Then you throw in the fact that we're talking to people about their insurance needs. You throw in the fact that we're talking to people about what they can do to become debt-free as quickly as possible. You talk about the fact that we're talking to them about estate planning and making the referrals there and helping them understand when they walk in and they talk to their attorney, hey, again, we're not attorneys. We never, pretend to be so, but we know enough to be like, hey, you probably want to talk to your attorney about, these basic estate planning documents. You probably, maybe you want to look at getting a revocable living trust. It's a lot more of that. And even Vanguard. So Vanguard, they've done it's called Seeking Alpha, and I think is the study, and it basically found that the average advisor is adding about 3.5% of returns every single year to a client. And gosh, I'm drawing a blank. What's John? I'm sorry, the founder of Vanguard. There's an interview where he's talking about low cost funds, but how even still with low cost funds, the average investor. And maybe I can find this and give it to, I'll see if I remember to give it to the SEO team, and they can throw this in. But he basically is just talking about how for the average investor, having an advisor is worthwhile. So
even after fees, they're getting.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, is that, so maybe you're getting charged a fee, but like Graysen said, is that if you start with $100,000 and you know nothing about researching the market, you know nothing. And people always talk about like, oh, I'm just going to buy the S&P 500. Okay. The S&P 500 is just the largest 500 companies in the United States. It's not nearly as diversified as people think because it's a cap weighted index. So what that means is that the bigger the company is, the more the more of the index it takes up. So if you ever to look at the actual holdings of the S&P 500, the top 10 holdings typically make up between 35 to 40% of the index. And depending on how you classify some of the companies, it's typically 8 to 9 of the top 10 holdings are tech-based companies. So when people are like, hey, I'm just going to go out and I'm going to buy the S&P and I'll be great. No, you'll be average. You're going to get all the highs as well as all the lows of the market. And yes, you'll make money on the top end, but when you have a 2008 type experience, a dot-com bubble, you have a 2022 where where equities and bonds are both down over 10%. If you have no one playing defense for you, the problem is that most investors are going to panic because they don't know what to do. They see their account balancing dip. And I think a lot of people forget, like I got my license in 2009. I was like a 22 or 23-year-old kid trying to talk to people about investing with no client base and no real experience. After one of the greatest markets collapse we've seen in our history. That was a fun year. Oh gosh. But what you forget is that like most people, if they saw the maximum drawdown in 2008 was 52% domestically and I believe 58% internationally. So you take the average Main Street investor and say, hey, what are you going to do when over the next couple of months, if there's a major pullback, your account's balance dips by half? Do you feel confident that you're going to make the right choices, that you're not going to do something to self-sabotage your growth long term? And I think most people, when it comes to that, they're like, I wouldn't know what to do and I'd probably panic. And then that's really the value of an advisor.
Holy cow. The value of an advisor there is invaluable.
Well, and I think there's a misconception too that the value of an advisor is to beat the market, and that's just not necessarily true. There's another video that I have this.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do it. So,
but try one of Graysen's. I don't know.
Let's go see what Graysen's got for us. Mr. Graysen. All right, we're going back to Instagram for us old people. Let's go. Getting away from the TikToks.
I was the only one that sent it.
It was a TikTok. All right.
100K in my 401k.
How much are they expected to have in the bank account in 30 years?
600,000.
So you have 100K.
In your 401k over 30 years, that 100k now is going to really decrease. There's all this hidden costs and fees and taxes, anywhere from 0.5 to 1% a year just in fees, which would take away about $70,000 off of your net profit. On top of that, that $70,000 that they took away over those 30 years, you could have made about $117,000. So if you take all that away, your take home will probably be about $574,000. After taxes and all the fees, you'll have about $430,000. If you take the rate of inflation and cost of living, that value of that $430,000 is now about $170,000.
I wish I could see how she's doing her math.
The best way is for you to
invest
invest into something that gives you a higher return and that doesn't take away fees and taxes.
Okay.
She's talking about the 401k. Wait, can you click on any of the comments here?
Yeah, we can click on. I don't know if it doesn't show any comments. Oh, all right.
How do you get the money out of your 401k without losses at 67 years?
100K plus maxing it over 30 years is way more than 600K. Yeah, so let's just get it. Let's go 100K. She said 100K.
Even if she didn't put anything more.
$0 contribution.
I already did this. It's going to be about 1.7 million If
30
we assume
years.
an average, let's say, okay, 9, I did 10.
Okay, 1.32 million at 9%. And again, let's
That's
assume
so different than 600,000, and that's if she never contributes anything more.
again,
Yeah.
a lot of people, and again, she might be using a 7% rate of return or something. We're using 9, which I think is fair. Okay, over a 30-year block of time. Historically,
absolutely.
that's fair. So yeah, with this, man, I've got a lot I could say on this, but again, I'm taking over. So
let's just say there are fees to the 401k. Most people do not realize that if you ask somebody that has a 401k, they say, do you know what you pay for your 401k? Nothing. It's free. Oh, well, oftentimes the company will pay all the fees. Oftentimes the companies will pass those fees on to the participants. So yes, there are fees, and she may be right, about 0.5 to 0.1% on what
that's about right.
they come up with. But what do those fees get you? They get you participation. They get you participation is something that gives you a match, and that match is the biggest draw to a 401k ever. If you have a match
Can't
where
beat free money.
you
Right.
cannot. What is it? I mean, anywhere from 30 to 60% return on your money, depending on what the match is.
Absolutely.
Right up front.
that's the thing we talk about too. Like if you look at the average safe harbor 401k, it's going to be a 6% contribution, get you a 3.5% match. That's the basic safe harbor, what's known as a QACA plan. All right, so like that's how it works. So if you think about the math on that, I give you 6%, you give me 3.5% back. I believe it works out. Again, I'm going off memory. I believe that's a 58% rate of return before your money has grown a single penny. Okay, and so it's always funny. The thing with all this stuff about fees, and this used to be an objection I would get more often, and people still have questions, but I think the thing that people have realized is that, number one, cost is only an issue in the absence of value. It's always funny to me that people get mad at people like whether it's financial advisors or realtors or people who are doing something that involves huge sums of money and then they get paid for it. And when people look at the different models of how you can go about doing this, the one gentleman who's talking about, a fee-based planner, that is okay. There are some people, we've done that before. We've done fee-based plans. Some people want to do that. And, it's fine, but it's like a snapshot in time. There's no ongoing maintenance. There's no ongoing reviews. And if you want to, it's like you're continually paying for it. Also, the way that advisors get paid on those types of plans are quite a bit different. Unless you're truly going to self-direct everything, then there's trading costs, or there can be commissions, or there can be all these other things. With an advisor-based fee, like you were talking about, Graysen, like it puts everyone on the same side. And that's the punchline. Like the punchline of the joke is the more money the client makes, the more money we make as well.
Yeah, and when you set up the long-term relationship that way, there is no question about what is it going to cost me to go talk to the advisor if they have simple questions.
Yep.
They may not. They may hold on to those questions until it's worth going to them. Because they're worried about what it's going to cost them.
Absolutely. What were you going to say, Josie?
Oh, I was just going to say, when you're looking for an advisor, ask as many questions as you want to, but at the same time, like, go in with the realization that this is your whole retirement. This is your life savings. And so do it right. Like, don't cut corners and cut costs because you're worried about a fee. Just go in and ask the question is like, is this fee going to detrimentally reduce my retirement? Is it going to detrimentally reduce my 401k? And then get the answers to that, verify the answers. But again, I think that like people want to cut corners so badly, but it's a very valuable asset to have. It's your life savings. So it's like, take it very seriously. And like we do. And that's also why there are fees. Like nothing is free. Nothing's free.
I think that this too is a great, let me just pull this up. There's a great study.
And while you're pulling that up, people are not dumb. If we start out with a standard advisor fee and you look at your performance and it is considerably different than a similar performance for similar goals with similar things, you're going to fire us. You're going to fire us. And, as Rob always says, God bless capitalism. We don't deserve your business. We don't deserve your money. And they're going to go on and find something different.
Yeah. And also, I think that where it's cost is only an issue in absence of value, everything costs something. And so even when you're looking at cheaper funds, that's fine, but it still costs something. So it
100%.
either costs maybe not as good diversification.
Maybe you're sacrificing management.
You're sacrificing management. You're always paying something. It just might not be money.
That's a good thing too. And this is a good point to bring up where people talk about like passive versus active investing. So the study I pulled up, I'm not going to show it on the screen, but I'm just going to let you guys know if you want to look. This is a study from Capital Group, who is the owner of American American funds. They have something that is called, it's the Capital Advantage. And then basically it says, man, I wish there was like something I could reference. 2024. It says the Capital Advantage Equity Investments. But basically the PDF, if you throw this into Google or to AI, is they say, think no one can beat the index, think again. And so they have an entire study where they found that if you look even at A-share mutual funds, which are their most expensive share class, 84.4% of the time over a 20-year rolling period of time, their funds beat the respective index. The thing that I think people miss when you hear people talking about it's hard to beat the index, every fund out there has to benchmark against something. They all have to have a benchmark. And just because they are benchmarked against a strategy like the S&P 500 or the Russell 1000, it doesn't mean that their goal is to beat that benchmark. There could be a low volatility S&P 500 fund, which will go out there and have better diversification. And the primary goal will be to have a less bumpy ride, but it has to benchmark off something. So of course, it's not going to outpace the S&P 500 when its goal is to have less volatility while giving similar returns. But people will look at that, and there's thousands of funds just like that, where they're designed to take less risk. And then people will look at that and say, see, look at all these funds that don't beat their benchmark. It's like, no. You have to go to funds that are actually trying to beat their benchmark and look at that subset of funds and see how those do, because the numbers are quite a bit different. And I think a lot of people miss too with passive investing versus active investing is that active is the idea of we're going to make more by losing less. It's the idea of like, hey, we want a team of professionals who are making those small adjustments on an ongoing basis that can help us optimize when the market's doing well, but can also keep us from taking unnecessary risk. And so that's a big conversation that we end up having pretty regularly with clients. And then we just show them side by side. And that's why we run those portfolio crash tests for people so they can see, hey, even if they have passive investing versus what we're showing with active stuff, we show after fees, we show historically, hey, this is what this is what it would have done. And it's usually a pretty easy win for most people. So
yeah, that's great. I'm glad you touched on that because I think people do often misinterpret what a benchmark is as in this is what the fund should have done versus no, this is just what we're comparing ours to so we can speak universally. Before we move on, the last thing I'd say about that 401k one is the taxes as she was calculating them is as if you took everything out of that tax sheltered account and took it to yourself in 1 year. And that's not the way people handle retirement accounts. Yeah. You get taxed at normal income rate for what you take out of those tax sheltered accounts. And so you take out what you need to live. You don't take everything out in the same year.
And also like too, when she was talking, I think like the point of her conversation too was to keep as much of your investments within your control that you can, which is somewhat true. So it's like what we often do is have people contribute up until they get the max, because you don't always have control of what investments you're able to choose from with your 401k. So get the match, get all the free money that you can, and then with that leftover, whatever else you want to save, then you can open up an IRA or an investment account or anything like that where you do have more control.
Yeah, and even with that, again, going back to the value of a financial advisor is that how many of our clients, we do that with, where it's like we help them understand the different ways to put money in, whether it's their 401k, but then we'll also show them how to have both pre-tax and post-tax dollars. We're giving them options so that when they get to retirement, they can stay in a lower tax bracket so that they're not pulling out from just one type of place. We're, incorporating different styles of accounts to do that. There's just so much more that goes into it that they're skipping over that. I guess if I walked into someone's office and they tried to sell me, VOO and charge me 1% for it, I'd be pretty pissed too. But when you have someone who's looking at everything holistically and truly giving you a plan of like, this is where you're at, this is how we get from where you're at to where you want to be, and it answers all that questions, and there's an ongoing support and advice, it's like, okay, well, yeah, everyone has to get paid. So that's the same for us. And again, the punchline of the joke is the more money our clients make, the more money we make. And the flip side of that is also true. If their account balances go down, all of our income goes down directly proportionate to that. So I like that system because people know and I think
it's straightforward, it's clean.
One thing too that we haven't really talked about, and we'll just say this and then move on. that's why I'm always so transparent with my own accounts.
Well, and I also, I'll piggyback off of that after you're done.
Yeah, it's just like, that's why I show people my own money. That's why I show people where we're investing. And so many of times it's like, hey, I have money of my own in this exact strategy. And also making sure that we really only like sell what we believe in. We only are using things that we truly like, that we're using as well. It's not us like selling products that we don't believe in, and it's like, hey, we're going to go out and sell you this, and then my family's doing this over here. It's like, we're never doing that. So, well,
and there was a video that I was looking at, when I was going through and trying to find content for this, but it was actually a good video, which is why I didn't send it to you. But the guy on it was basically talking, when you're looking for a financial advisor and you go in for the first meeting and it's immediate like selling, because he's saying most advisors are just trying to sell you something versus walking you through on that first meeting what their process for investing looks like and taking more of an educational approach, which is what we do. And I think that is good advice, where we're not just, it's not like a one night stand or like, it's not like a take home.
I don't even know what those are anymore. Jeez. All right. Moving on. Let's see here. What do we got? All right.
A scam. When you put money into a 401k.
Did we watch this one already?
No.
Yeah.
Of that money when it's worth the most. Inflation devalues the dollar. So I'm 40. If I put money in a 401k, I've got zero access to it without penalty until I'm almost 60. That's 20 years. The dollar's going to be devalued like crazy. That's the first thing. Second thing is to use your money, you have a penalty. Now also,
what happened there?
Deferring your taxes. Seed, you're deferring it to pay taxes on the harvest. Taxes go up, they don't go down. So most likely, you're giving up control of the money when it's worth the most, to have access to it later when it's worth less. You're paying more taxes in the future, most likely. And when you're taxed at earned income rates instead of capital gains rates, which is higher. 401ks, they were brought to us by...
See, this is the comment. This has got to be pinned. That's what I'm saying.
They created over-taxation. So what did they do? Let's correct this problem by giving you a 401k so you can defer your taxes. Doesn't that seem a little fishy?
So we're looking at the comments now, and this guy's comments, one of the comments is like, so what do you recommend? And he goes, infinite banking concept. Oh,
that's it.
God.
That's literally the only
infinite
reply.
Banking concept.
In my bio. Just click my bio.
All right. So, God, I love these ones because this is the most, these people are, you want to talk about like borderline cult. I'm going to catch so much shade for this, but I will go up against anyone on this anytime, and let's just run the numbers. So what this gentleman is talking about is, instead of using your 401k, which is a tax qualified account, he's giving a bunch of half truths. He says that, one, he is saying you have no access to your money. Not true. There are definitely times you can get access to your money for qualified disbursements or for hardship withdrawals. Most 401ks have a loan feature if you absolutely have to. But again, if you're working with a solid financial advisor, your money shouldn't all be in your 401k. You should have at least 3 different types of accounts. Your FDIC insured account, your short-term account that's designed to outpace inflation, avoid catastrophic losses, and remain completely liquid. So think of it as like an emergency fund that's earning around 4, 5, 6%, somewhere in there. And then you have your long-term wealth building account. And so what he is saying here is that it's just not true, okay?
Especially when he's talking about inflation, devaluing that. If your 401k is not outpacing inflation, you definitely need to talk to an advisor.
Yeah, again, go pay the 1%.
and the taxes going up thing too. When you're in retirement, you're paying less in taxes.
A lot of times, but again, that's the other thing too, though, is that he's saying that like taxes as a whole always go up.
Yeah.
And that's not always true. Like taxes have come down from other times. I mean, we just had taxes come down recently with what Trump did. I forget the thing that he passed, but he basically permanently lowered capital gains taxes. So it's not true that taxes always go up. However, what this gentleman is now talking about is the infinite banking concept. I used to run across this all the time. Infinite banking concept is using whole life insurance to build your own bank. And the way it is sold is, hey, you know what rich people do? Rich people go out there, they self-fund these life insurance policies, and then they borrow against them because then they don't have to pay taxes on it. It is a complete half-truth, okay? First of all, for the Main Street middle market investor, they don't have the cash flow needed to do this. You need to throw serious, like it has to be an entire lifestyle. And so what these insurance agents will do is they will sell you on this policy that makes them buku dollars. but only grows for
every
you
year.
every year. But then for you, it might grow at 4 or 5%, maybe. Now,
And you don't get a match, by the way.
You
Might get one with your 401k, which is what he didn't even talk about.
you get no match with these because it's not available through a 401k. You have to borrow your money if you want to use it. You have to pay the insurance company typically back a minimum of around 3 to as much as 6%. When you die, you lose your cash value on these. And if you run the numbers side by side, you will always come out ahead. Always, always, always. If you choose good investments like a normal person would, you're going to come out ahead over this infinite banking concept. The thing where they talk about tax-free growth is another half truth. All right. So what they'll tell you to do is, hey, put money in this account. It's not really going to grow for years, at all.
And then you'll have surrender charge. You can't touch it for years.
Yep. You have these huge surrender charges if you want to pull the money out. And then over time, when you get to retirement, what they'll say is like, hey, you put your money in this and this life insurance company is going to pay you dividends back on your policy and it's going to grow over time. The question no one ever asked, why aren't those dividends in a whole life policy taxed? Why? I mean, dividends everywhere are taxed. Why in a life insurance policy are my dividends not taxed? The reason why is because it's a repayment of the over premiums they charged you.
Because by the way, you're paying in these whole life policies, you're paying significantly more for coverage that you would, whereas if you just got a term policy,
100%,
significantly more,
100%.
And you're paying for both. You're paying for that whole. You're paying for that growth as an investment, and you're paying for the life insurance as itself. And it's trying to do both and doesn't do either well. And the life insurance is based on what's called annual renewable.
Well, this would be in a universal life policy, not in a whole life. In a whole life, it's not based on that. But in a universal life, you're right. And they don't usually use universal life for these products. Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's right. This keeps me on track. Because I have seen the same things for the universal life.
Yeah. And the thing that I think people should get with this, okay, because I see these videos pretty regularly. All right. I'm going to give you guys like real advice. If anyone is trying to sell you any type of permanent style policy and you are not independently rich wealthy, they're lying to you or they're ignorant and they don't know what they're talking about. Okay. There is no reason to buy any type of permanent style life insurance policy. If you are a Main Street middle American, you need to buy term insurance and invest the difference. What their whole spiel on this is you're going to build up this big pot of money. And then when you get to retirement, you can borrow against this money and you borrow it. And you only pay back 6% to borrow the money versus paying taxes on this. Okay. Well, what happens if I cancel the policy? Oh, then everything becomes taxable immediately. How much growth did I give up? Probably hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars to do this. What if I would have just used a Roth IRA? What if I would have put all this in a Roth IRA and then I let that grow? My money would be tax-free at retirement. Isn't that correct? Well, yeah. Like all these things that people are talking about, it's garbage. They are selling products that make them a ton of money at your expense. We never sell whole life insurance. The only time it is ever appropriate is if you are independently wealthy and you're using it for some, if you're over the 15.62 or whatever $1 million for inheritance where you're going to have like the wealth tax or the death tax. Yeah. Maybe you look at some whole life insurance to help with that. But other than that, buy term, invest the difference.
Yeah.
This guy doesn't know what he's talking about.
Is that this is the way the rich invest. Well,
no, that's not
rich
true.
People do tend to use this. But they've also used up every other opportunity they have to defer taxes. And they're in such a high tax bracket that
most people
the
are
fees
not
make
in.
sense.
Yeah.
And so the average person can't make those decisions because they're not in the same tax bracket.
Well, and that's the thing.
That even though rich people use it, they're in a
how they
completely
got
different.
rich.
Yeah. Exactly, they're
And
in a completely different
that's the
situation.
misconception.
And it's being sold and presented as this is how they get rich.
Well, I think too, when people just look at how do capital gains taxes work? Okay, because let's just look. Let's say you're an average Main Street middle American family. If you're taking a standard deduction, which again, I'm going off memories around like 32.5, 32.6,
That's right.
Something like that. So that means that basically, if you earn, I believe it's like around $92,000 or $94,000 or less, you're in a 0% capital gains tax bracket if you're married, but you have to add your standard deduction to that. So realistically, as a household, you can make, I believe it's around like $133,000 and then still be in that 0% capital gains tax bracket. Don't kill me on the numbers, guys. I'm going off memory here, okay? So the average person who's just trying to sock money away that they still want to keep liquid, unless they're making, over $130,000 a year, they're going to be in a 0% capital gains tax bracket anyway. So like all this stuff he's talking about.
And what if they are making above that?
Then let's go out and let's earn, 8, 9, 10% rate of return on our accounts. I'd rather have that money grow, and maybe you put it into a Roth IRA or a Roth 401k where your contribution limits are 24.5, I believe, if you're under the age of 50. Let that money grow tax-free. If you need to access it, you have loans that you can use in an emergency. And if you're working with an advisor who knows what they're talking about, they're going to set you up with other accounts that are designed to be there for an emergency fund. They're going to make sure you have a solid amount of cash in your checking account, so you're not like one emergency away from going into debt. They're going to help you become debt free. They're going to help you have all this stuff lined up so that like this type of stuff, when you get to retirement, you're not sitting there saying, oh, I wish I would have, I wish I had a couple $1 million in my account versus this couple $100,000 in this whole life policy that, is tax free. If I take the loan.
I love that he's like, oh, you can't pull it out without penalties, but he's not mentioning any surrender charges, which is the same thing.
Yeah. This guy is an idiot. Sorry, sir, but you are either very ignorant or you're selling crap that makes you a lot of money. And
that's the thing.
So when people are trying to sell you something, ask them questions. Ask them how they get paid.
Yeah.
Are they getting commission? Ask them what their licenses are.
Yeah.
And what that means to their responsibility to you.
Yep.
Just as a salesperson has no responsibility for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A licensed advisor is a fiduciary, which means they are legally and ethically obligated to put your interests above their own.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing is, and it's not to like dog on like everybody that's selling.
I'm dogging on all
policies. Of them. They're not good products, but at the same time, I know that you've mentioned they don't always know what they're selling. So they might be like, oh, I genuinely want to help people and I genuinely think this is a good product. But that's just because they don't know necessarily what they're selling is a bad product.
A hammer always sees a nail, and a lot of these people exactly that. So it's very easy to get a life insurance license. You could study for 1 week and go get a life insurance
Literally
license.
what I did.
Yeah, high five, very nice. All right.
All three of us have our life insurance license, so we know exactly these products.
We can sell these products. We just never do.
Because
they're garbage.
Never appropriate.
But a lot of agents that I have run across, and you're right, like this guy, that's why I'm saying he's either ignorant or he's dishonest. Because people sell what they're taught to sell. And, if you're an insurance agent and all you have is your insurance license and someone says, hey, I want a way to save money. Well, all you can do is talk about like whole life insurance.
That's all you know.
That's all you know. And that's what you've been taught to sell. And guess what? When you sell one, you make thousands of dollars to do so. So like, hey, they're like, oh, this is great. And they've been told it's great. So yeah. All right, let's keep it going. I guess I did have a TikTok one. What do I got here? Look at me. Oh, we did that one. That's old boy. Finance bro. Oh, I can't wait for this one. This one's good.
You did find some good ones.
I told the IRS that I am non-taxable. That's not the same thing as tax exempt, because if you're tax exempt, you're asking permission to not pay taxes. But I am non-taxable because I am a living woman who does not reside in the DC zip code. I sent it as an affidavit, so I gave the IRS ample time to respond to me if they have any rebuttal at all. And if I do not get a response, then I assume that, I can continue living out my rights as a non-taxable living woman. I had my affidavit notarized and sent it certified mail. This was September 3rd of last year. I did not receive a response. Oh, and I also included a WA-BEN that I filled out with the best of my ability. And I included also a Google Maps printout of my exact coordinates of where I domicile, just to prove that I am not within the DC zip code. And they could find me if they really wanted to. Oh, and another thing is I mentioned that I am not an employee of the state or federal government in any way. If I think of anything else that I missed, I will add it
because it's on X
video.
again. So, all right.
No
so
problem.
her thing is she's playing the whole sovereign citizen route where she's like, I am not taxable because I don't condone to this type of situation. And, telling the IRS that like, hey, this is why you cannot tax me.
And also, here's my location.
Yeah, well, that's something. So, what are you guys' thoughts on her strategy to avoid taxes?
Holy cow, this is going to come bite her in the butt. They are going to come after her taxes and then some.
Yep, 100%.
Taxes is something that will not go away. They are going to come after that.
Yep, 100%.
And if there's like one thing about the IRS, it's like they're going to get paid.
They're going to get paid.
They're going to get paid.
They are 100% going to get paid. I've had...
And you will go to jail if you don't.
Yeah, I have, he's not a client anymore. I had a client who he chose not to pay his taxes ever. And he did this for over 15 years. And his wife did not like it. And she's like, hey, we got to do this. He's like, nope, I'm not doing this. And sure enough, one day he gets a letter. And basically he's getting a bill for back taxes for 15 plus years. And it was such a big amount of money, like it ruined his marriage. His wife left him. So she was done because she filed her taxes, but he would not do his. And so...
Well, it's like, have you guys seen where Walmart will let you, like, this is just a simple analogy, but like Walmart will let you get away with stealing up until I think like $1,000 because at that point they can charge you more for it. And I feel like that's kind of where our IRS is at, where they're like, okay, have fun. Don't pay your taxes.
Yeah.
Like, let's see how that goes for you. You know, because it's like...
Yeah,
just
pay
gets
your
worse
taxes.
for you.
You do not want the IRS as an enemy.
No, you don't. And if you want to pay less in taxes, that's something that, okay, cool. Like there's strategies, there's rules that we can play by. There's a game. It's like, don't hate the player, hate the game. All right. You got to play the game. You got to play within the rules they give you. Get a good CPA. Get someone who knows the tax code and someone who has a knowledge base that's appropriate to where you're at in life. If you're just starting out, you just got W-2s, all that stuff. You probably don't even, you may not even need a tax person if you're just working standard W-2 jobs. But if you're going to go out there, you run a small business, you need a CPA who knows their stuff, who knows the tax code, and who is creative in their solutions of how to keep your tax bill low. But you don't want to get into this, I just don't pay taxes or I'm committing fraud department. Like it's not where you want to be. Trust me, I hate paying taxes about as much as anyone, but you can keep your taxes low if you just do it right, and you play by the rules. So you guys have anything else to say about our sovereign citizen lady here?
No, just read the tax code, read the tax bracket. Most people don't even realize that with the standard deduction of over $16,000, what that really translates to is the first $16,000 you make is tax-free.
Well, and I'm curious what her thought process was behind that.
I think she's just an idiot. Like, no offense.
I think she just doesn't think that the IRS is going to care over her missing taxes.
It's the thing where it's like, again, I've seen this with other things where like police officers will stop people and they'll be like, I'm a sovereign citizen, so I don't have to follow these laws. It's like, that's just not how it works. Yeah, that's just not the way this works. And I guarantee you, out of all the debt you don't want to have, IRS debt is up there at the top, probably followed by a close second of student loan debt, because you're never getting away from it. You're not filing bankruptcy and having it go away. You will owe this money, and they will, all the way to the point where if you get out to like Social Security age, they will garnish your Social Security. They will get their money. So
they'll put liens on your house and property.
Yes, they will take your shit. Okay, don't let that happen. Like, just again, be smart and play the game within the rules. And yeah, you do that to keep your taxes as low as possible and mitigate them, but like pay your taxes. Otherwise you're going to get in some trouble. So, all right, let's do this one.
If you don't have an income, you don't pay any tax. And this is exactly what wealthy people are doing.
Elon Musk never took a salary at Tesla. Instead, he got paid in stock options, which went to the moon.
Instead of selling his stock, Elon says to the bank, I own billions in Tesla shares. Can I borrow against them? The bank says, sure, here's millions. And that's how the rich pay interest, not tax, which is far cheaper. If you don't have an income, you don't pay any tax.
Thoughts?
I think, again, the average person cannot do that. It's like, okay, that's not how they got rich. That's not how Elon Musk got rich.
No, but can be a viable strategy. I mean, how many times have we come up with somebody?
But unless you're coming up and you're saying, hey, I've got millions of stock options, it's like you can't just not pay taxes. in.
No, but what he's talking about is if he sells those, he has to pay taxes.
Mm-hmm.
And he has to pay tax. Elon Musk definitely is going to be into 20% for capital gains taxes.
Plus alternative minimum tax.
Yeah, absolutely. So how do we get around that? Well, he could use those as collateral against a loan. And we've done that
talk
before.
right in the mic, please.
Yeah, we've done that before where, yes, we use this as collateral and it's a loan that you take against your own investments that, yes, you pay back. But holy cow,
prime
interest
plus
is
1 or 2.
Yeah, interest is significantly lower than what if they actually sold those assets. So they're able to get into a house and not sell their positions. They're able to, take funds out for a college education or whatever they need to without selling. Now, this is primarily only used in non-qualified accounts. I'll caveat that because he doesn't make any reference to what type account. Non-qualified are accounts that are not given special treatment for tax purposes. So like 401ks and IRAs, those are all qualified accounts. Non-qualified accounts include something like a personal investment account.
Yeah. So, and this is, again, Josie, you hit the nail on the head. If you're already rich, go for this. This could work. What he's talking about, we do these pretty regularly. It's called a securities-backed line of credit, and spot on. We have had clients where they've had to, especially when it comes to property stuff, or they're just looking at getting some income, they're looking at getting some cash without wanting to make big sales, or they're going to get crushed on the sales. So we've had people, we do that, and they still get to collect the dividends on this. They still get so they still get all the benefits of owning the stock. They just have to pay the interest on it. And for some people that does work, but
again,
you have to have a lot of money.
That's further down the road. If you're starting, you have to go through the diligent saving process to get there.
Yeah. This one was dumb. This one wasn't that good. Let's see here.
All right, for failing to pay your taxes for 7 years straight, you're sentenced to 7 years in federal prison. If you have anything to say for yourself, please speak now. Thank you. All right, great. Wait, what the did you say? Thank you for sending me to a place where I don't have to pay taxes. Or rent, honestly. What? Sir, this isn't a consolation prize for committing tax fraud. This is a punishment. Well, taxes are actually used to fund prisons, so in a way, I'm actually getting a tax refund if you really think about it. What? Look, on top of your sentence, we're stripping away all of your assets and you'll be left with literally nothing. How are you okay with that? Well, all I have is a mountain of credit card debt, so as long as you're stripping that away, then open up a damn strip club, you know what I mean? Okay, I'm so sorry, Your Honor. My client's not really thinking straight. Tell him you're not thinking straight. I've never been more lucid, Jim, so sit down. Okay, you do know that you'll have to work a job in prison, right? And you'll actually get paid a wage for working that job. So you know what that means? You'll have to pay taxes in prison too. Okay, so I just won't pay those taxes either then. What's the problem? You plan on committing tax fraud in the place you're being sent to for committing tax fraud? Yeah? Can't go to prison twice, am I right? He's actually got a point there, sir. Okay, then we'll place you in solitary confinement then. Will I have to work a job in solitary confinement? No. Then send me the away, sir. I don't know what to tell you. All right, you know what? It. Just give him the death penalty already. I'm not doing this anymore. All right, for
This is more light, a little bit more a joke. Here, I'm going to turn this other camera back on.
Well, there are those people out there that says, thank goodness for jail. I'll get a warm bed and 3 meals a day. But why not just go to the Army?
True.
Well, in a funny way, this kind of reinforces the last one. Pay your shit or you will go to jail.
Yeah, there's no joke with that. So, yeah, I was thinking about that. I was like, oh, we just had a little sovereign citizen here. And so I thought that was a good follow-up. All right, Josie, we're going back to you. Let's see what else we got here.
I got a Dave Ramsey one.
All right. Let's see what we got. Oh. Let's see here.
Stupid loans. Stupid. Car payments. Stupid on steroids. Borrowing money on your house to put granite countertops in. Somebody ought to smack you. That's stupid. It's stupid. You have to stop and think again. Here's the deal. Your number one wealth building tool is your income. All of the millionaires that we interview, unless they inherited the money, which is very, very few of them, less than 10% of them inherited the money, did it by saving and investing their income. They did not give their income to Best Buy. When you give your income to someone else, you don't have it anymore. And when you give your income away, you have given up your economic future. All for crap. 70% of the Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. That's stupid. Because you're living in one of the wealthiest countries the world has ever known, and there you sit like a rat in a wheel. Run. Why? Because student loans are an investment, and I'm going to Best Buy. This is just stupid. It's stupid on steroids. Really,
it was mostly
seriously,
the beginning because I want to talk about like credit cards
instead of sitting around eating
the no
Skittles and
debt.
watching
This
Oprah
idea of
reruns.
no debt, it's not feasible.
Yeah.
For most Americans.
Yeah. So, I mean, my thought with Dave Ramsey, I think what Dave Ramsey says a lot of times is it's right on paper.
Mm-hmm.
He does a great job, and I agree with probably 95% of what he says. However, like even this right here is a perfect example of that. Like Dave Ramsey's kind of built his brand around being the talking head, which we're saying this as we're talking heads. Irony. But he does have to be eccentric. His job is to keep people listening. So I get it because hey, this is the game we're all playing. With that said, though,
and it's not 100% wrong.
It's not wrong. He's not wrong. Right. All right. However, it's also like the way I equate living the way Dave Ramsey talks about with money, as you guys have heard me say, it's like going to the gym. Okay. Some people want to go to the gym and work out 2 hours a day. They want to eat nothing but chicken, rice, and broccoli. They want to be in perfect, godlike Adonis shape. They want everything perfect. And that's a small percentage of people. And if you try to force, but then you look at like myself, for example, like I want to be healthy. I go to the gym. I work out probably 5-6 times a week. I'm trying to eat decent, but dude, I went to the baseball game yesterday, had 2 Rainiers or Raniers, as I like to say, had my pinky out while I was drinking them. All right. And that's normal too. And so like why I give that example is that if you try to force the average American person to go to the gym 2 hours a day and live in perfect health, they would resent the process. They would hate every minute. Even if they did it, they would hate it. And most people will quit and they won't follow through. And
well, sorry, just to interrupt, you're saving for retirement so you can enjoy your life.
Yeah.
But you're like, what's the point if you don't even enjoy clear up until the fact that you're 60? I would literally, if I was doing that process of just going to the gym I hate chicken and rice.
Yeah.
But I hate my life.
Yeah. And that's the thing with what he's talking about here is I think when people listen to Dave Ramsey, they have to understand that what he's saying on paper a lot of times is right. In a perfect world, yeah, you would want to do all these things. You want to, he talks about like living today like no one else will. So down the road, you can live like no one else does or whatever. I forget the way he says it. But like what I would just encourage people is that like the same way that I'm happy going to the gym and being in good shape overall, I'm probably in the top 10 percentile of people. I'm healthy. I'm living a great life, but I still eat, I still eat chicken wings, have pizza, and drink beer from time to time. That's how I would say treat your finances. It's okay to spend money. You might die tomorrow. Like, don't live to the point where you resent everything and you push things off. Like, I'm thinking of the one client we were just talking with recently.
We actually talked to a lot of clients about this because
Yeah.
we do have some clients that are so terrified to spend any money.
Yep.
And now they're in retirement. They're in a great spot, don't get me wrong, but there's plenty of people that are in a great spot anyways and they
Yes.
can still enjoy their lives.
And that's the thing that, and I would really, sorry, Graysen, I see you keep trying to talk, but it's
No,
like, I'm
that's
like,
all right.
no, like having, so we work with it's closer to like 750 households now. I don't even know, probably getting close to 1,200 personal client accounts that we have. And the thing that I see a lot happen with people is that, I mean, Graysen, you've seen it too. How often are we having people come to us and say, I just want someone to give me permission to spend some of this money.
Yeah.
It's all the time. And so I think people listen to stuff like this and it does work, but then they get to this other side of the extreme where they don't spend anything. They feel scared and like they're limited. And as someone who used to follow Dave Ramsey's stuff to a T, you're talking to a guy who used to drive the cheapest car, live in the cheapest apartment, save every penny for one day. And then like, I just realized I was like, and my wife had a lot to do with this, is like, you know what, it's okay to have fun. It's okay to drive nice things. Like it's okay to buy cars. And if you want, like I have my car, my car is freaking badass. I love it. And I have a loan on it right now, but I can easily afford it. It's not, I could pay it off today if I wanted to. I have the cash where I could. But again, for me, it was like, I don't want to use that much of my savings right now when I can just chip away at this. I'm still saving money in other places. And then I'm just going to lump sum and pay it off. So I would just
Be smart.
encourage people, be smart. Don't overextend yourself, but like, don't be afraid to enjoy your life as well, and don't feel guilty. Like I've also heard Dave Ramsey say, I would rather ride the bus than have a car payment.
I wouldn't.
I would rather have a car payment.
Yeah.
I'd rather have my car and not have to waste my time riding the bus. I've heard him talk to people about what they could do to not really need credit and still buy a home. Good effing luck.
Yeah.
Good luck with that. It is so hard to do. And so I think some of this stuff he talks about, again, it's almost like the opposite extreme of the infinite banking concept we were just talking about, where that is one really stupid extreme. If you're going to pick an extreme, go the Dave Ramsey route. But I don't think you need to, I don't think it should be what you allow to dictate your life. And like, you don't have to swing all the way over. Find that happy medium. Sorry, Grayson. I know you wanted to talk.
No, I mean,
actually, I have one more thing. No, I was joking.
But I remember everything I want to talk about. But there are some things that Dave Ramsey does very well. And when we have clients that come after being with Dave Ramsey or going through his program, one thing that he does really well is teaching people to live within their means.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that, unfortunately, needs to be taught. And what he was talking about earlier is as your income goes up, your spending goes up to where you're constantly living paycheck to paycheck, and you're probably not funding your retirement.
Yeah.
And those all your income is going to different loans for TV, for furniture, for those sorts of things.
Well, and you always kind of feel like you're treading water.
You're always treading water doing this thing. So he is right to discourage that. And as we've seen this play out, one, people are doing that throughout their lives. Two, people are having kids a little bit later. So when they come to about the age of 50, when they should really realize that I need to really start superfunding my retirement because I haven't, they still have all the things that buy now, pay later things have built up.
Yep.
And they're struggling with, I need to send my kid to college.
Well, I think too,
at the cost of their own retirement.
With this too, this kind of goes right back to some of those early clips we were talking about, the value of a financial advisor.
Yeah.
I mean, the reason that we could sit down, I just had a younger lady who's a client of mine, of ours, she's 26 years old, sharp young woman, great job, just got a pay raise where she's making about 12% more. So she's 26 and she's probably making $130,000 to $140,000 a year. She's making some decent money for her age, maybe a little bit less, but let's call it 120 even. But she's doing it right. She's living with family to keep her expenses low, and she's saving a ton. She's saving like probably $4,000 a month right now. Oh, and do you know what I'm talking about? You would know.
I know.
You know. Oh, you know who it is.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's a split client with us, and you know exactly who I'm talking about. Super sharp young lady, and so she called me, and that was one of her things. She's like, my car is dying. I don't know what I need to do. Should I do this? And I'm like, it's okay for you to do this.
Fix the car.
Yep. And so, but again, having a financial advisor, who can just sit there and show you, you're not going to derail your plan. Or we have that other couple that, again, they came in, they're the ones who had to sit down with you. They came in and had a bunch of accounts they were moving. And the wife was just like, she was one of those who was like, I need permission to spend money. And just being able to walk through just the long-term growth of their accounts, even after disbursements, or even if they are taking a lump sum, it's like that to a lot of people gives them the peace of mind to know, hey, I'm going to do something without derailing my plan. So, Dave,
Go
ahead.
I think a lot of people have decision paralysis because they don't always know, and then they go through this process of okay, I need to research what I should be doing and how much I can reasonably take out and how much is within my means. And so what ends up happening a lot of the time is that people don't make any decision and they never start anything because they don't know what the right way to go is. And again, that's the value of a financial advisor is because then at that point, confidently you don't have to do all the research. And even on this stuff, it's this could be research for some people where they're looking at these whole life policies and they're like, oh, that's what I want to do. And it's well, what research are you looking at? And I think that's also where decision paralysis comes in because you don't even know what information you're looking at is the correct one.
Yeah.
And you do need to work on paying down your debt and not taking on more. And we do prioritize in our plans paying off your high interest debt, but not at the cost of your long-term future. So when we sit down with somebody, we say, hey, yes, we are going to work on your debt. This is what we should do. This is how long you'll till you're debt free, and show that to them.
Yep.
And also in that same time frame, this is what your your retirement assets are going to grow to. This is what your emergency fund and non-qualified assets are going to grow to. Because more so than being debt-free, the biggest financial security people will feel is having non-qualified assets, having liquid assets that they could access to if they needed to.
Yep.
If you'll feel better having $30,000 of liquid assets than being debt-free and having nothing.
Mm-hmm. And you do need credit.
Yeah, you need credit.
You need credit.
And that's something that, so the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, they have their, I forget exactly what the study's called, but it's their study on financial wellness. And that they found that they basically did a test where people in all walks of life, every income level, they talked to them about how their financial wellness felt for them and where they were at. And the one thing that everyone had that was in the top tier of financial wellness was, regardless of their income, they all had liquid assets of over $10,000. Mm-hmm. And so this is a big thing that we'll talk to people about, is their reduced essential expenses accounts. Having enough money set aside where if something horrible happens, they're not scrambling to survive, you know? So again, having a good advisor handles all these types of things for you so that you don't have to pinch every penny. Even on broad strokes, he was talking about a budget. I'm not opposed to budgets. I have a budget, but what I've also found for most people is you don't have to track every single penny. You can use tools like Monarch, which is what we use, which is great. But what I found for most people is that if you track your top 5 expenses, your biggest expenses outside of your fixed expenses, like your mortgage and stuff like that, if you track those top 5 expenses, you tend to do pretty well, because then it's okay, if like Amazon or eating out or drinking or just partying or whatever, if you do good on those, everything else seems to work out, and you don't have to be perfect with your finances to do well. So
yeah, and the one last thing I'll say is, in order for a budget to work, or a financial plan to work, or a debt elimination plan to work, it has to be feasible. And so often, like with Dave Ramsey's beans and rice method, where he's like, okay, you can feed yourself for far less, okay, but if people try that, they're going to get burned out, and they're going to give up, and they're going to end up in a worse position than when they started with.
It's like dieting.
Yeah, it's exactly what it's like, is that
totally
people have to get it to a point where they can actually stick with it.
Not that it needs to be comfortable, because I think you should always know that you're investing for your future. It should always sting a little bit. So the fact that it shouldn't be necessarily too comfortable, but it shouldn't be.
It's like a healthy diet.
It shouldn't be.
It's a lifestyle. It's a
painful
lifestyle
either.
choice. Yeah. It's like, if you're first getting into shape, it's inertia. It's going to work for you or against you. Okay. And so if you are starting from ground zero and you've been making poor daily habits, like I'm going to use the music artist Jelly Roll as an example. All right. Jelly Roll is a killer right now, man. That guy has lost 300 pounds because he realized he needed to change his life or he's going to die. Okay. And so what did he lose all the weight overnight? No. And it goes back to that saying of people overestimate what they can do in a year, but underestimate what they can do in 5 years. And I think that's the problem with all this stuff, is that the benefit all of us have is we're in an industry where compounding is something we see every day. We see every day that small little decision. It's that slight edge, that little decision daily.
A great book if you haven't read it.
Yeah, Slight Edge. Slight Edge Theory, I think it's called. Yeah, great. Something like that.
Just the Slight Edge.
Yeah, really good book. But it's all about those small daily habits that compound over time. And we are so fortunate because we see it every day, and we get to talk to people in different financial situations every day. So we're getting exposed to this stuff all the time. But a lot of people don't have anything like that in their life, where they don't have a way to measure what small decisions, compounding over time does for them. And so going back to the whole thing with budgeting or just how you're spending money, it might be uncomfortable at first, but then it's a lifestyle. And just like the same way, if you had to lose weight at first, it might suck, but over time, it's just okay, this is just what I do. This is just who I am. And this is how I do my day. I work out for this amount of time. I do that. And I think when people take that approach with their money, it tends to work.
It all breaks down, everything. It breaks down to simple decisions made repeatedly.
And advisors help with that.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Totally.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say there's another book, Atomic Habits, that's really good. And the thing I always think about is like every decision you make is a vote for the kind of person that you are, and so it's like
It's like when you talk about your future self and being proud of
my
your future self.
I'm always like, is my future self gonna like this?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm like, I hope my future self is alive. 'Cause I'm getting so old. Oh, God.
I gotta think about her because I gotta be there someday.
Yeah, no, that's good. All right, this is a good one. This is more of a funny one.
Little girl, can we postpone this for another day? It's unsettling having you just sit there.
But my report's due tomorrow.
What's it on?
Why government matters.
Really? It's never too early to learn that the government is a greedy piglet that suckles on a taxpayer's teat until they have sore, chapped nipples. I'm gonna need a different metaphor to give this 9-year-old. What's your name, ma'am?
Lauren Burkus.
Lauren. My name is Ron Swanson, and I'm gonna tell you everything you need to know about the miserable, screwed up world of local government.
You have mustard in your mustache.
Don't sass me, Burkus. Let's get started. Life, liberty, and property. It's John Locke. This is your lunch. Now, you should be able to do whatever you want to with this, right? If you want to eat all of it, great. If you want to throw it away in the garbage, that's your prerogative. But here I come, the government. And I get to take 40% of your lunch.
I don't think he actually
That's
did
how taxes work.
That's not fair.
You're learning. Uh-oh. Capital gains tax.
All right. If you haven't watched Parks and Rec, phenomenal show.
As he's quite literally working for the government. That's the funniest thing.
That is, yeah.
Yes.
Ron Swanson's probably my hero. I love it. I thought that one was funny, but thoughts on that? Thoughts on taxes and the government? I know we spent a lot of time on that, so I don't know. Maybe we just bypass right through that one, but just fun.
That is fun.
That's fun.
That is fun. Yes, everyone has to pay taxes. Not everyone has to pay at 40%. They have the
Very few people are paying
the
at 40%.
tax bracket to try to make it fair and even. But our taxes do pay for a lot of things that we take for granted, from roads to protection to.
You're sounding like a communist right now.
No, I'm not a communist. As
just kidding, guys.
As much as all these things that we do take for granted, they're there for a reason, and it's because of taxes. And I know they feel high, but it's easy to look around the world and find a whole lot of higher places with higher taxes that people are even okay with.
I mean, even in America. I mean, you look at California versus Montana.
Yeah. And people in California.
And people love living there.
Yeah.
Do they though? I don't know.
Some people.
I think
people
that's
do.
the thing. I think the tax conversation, why it's always such a big deal, is that if all taxes were doing exactly that, then it's like, all right, cool, I get it. But when you see people, opening up fraudulent daycares and just going out there and doing all sorts of stuff and stealing, and the waste that we have, and our national debt just bell curving straight up, I think that's where we get frustrated, because it's like the rules for thee, but not for me, where it's like, hey, we can just keep spending money that we don't have, whereas maybe that sovereign citizen lady was onto something. She's just taking a play from the federal government. Like, hey, I'm just going to say that I don't have to do something, and I don't have to do it. And I feel like that's kind of what ends up happening with our taxes and the way that we spend money as a nation, where it's just like, hey, I guess we're just never going to even try and balance a budget anymore, and it's just everything kind of kicks the can down the road. You see, even with Social Security, how they're spending more than they bring in, how the Social Security Trust Fund is depleting. And, and again, it's just one of those things where a lot of half truths, because people think like, oh, Social Security is going to run out, I'm never going to have any money. Not true. Like, it's just they're probably they're going to raise taxes. They're going to raise payroll taxes by about 2% on both sides, most likely. And that will solve the problem. I'm not a fan of that. Or they're just going to cut benefits by about 25%. But I think that's why people get so frustrated with the government, because it's like, you guys are just wasting our money, and then, somehow we always have to pay more. So, all right, let's go.
There are a lot of things that the taxpayer money dollar goes to that people do not support or understand, and that's always a frustrating thing.
Yeah. All right, let's see.
So in 2019, I cashed out over $100,000
Did you put this one or did I put this one? Because I thought I sent this one.
I don't know.
And that's because 401ks are the single greatest scam that anybody can invest in. Now, for 99% of people, if you have no discipline financially and you don't want to invest your own money, for sure, get your employer match. That's fine. But what 401ks are designed for is the U.S. government literally said most people don't have enough discipline to actively invest money on their own. So we're going to create a program that forces people to get into equities, aka the stock market. And so the 401k is designed for you to not pay tax right now and then draw on it later at 65, where you're supposed to be paying less tax. But the issue is, I'm going to be really, really rich at 65 years old, and I'm going to be in a higher tax bracket. So you are literally having no benefit to having a 401k because you have zero control with that capital that's inside the vehicle of the 401k. So look, I'm not your financial advisor. I'm not giving financial advice. If you want to ride that 401k, do it. I'm just saying that if you want to understand how to actively invest your money in real estate, businesses, and stuff like that, it's much better to pay the 10% pre-penalty to go ahead and get that money out of the 401k to where you can control it and actually grow it and do something with it. Most people are just sitting, like, you're wasting money.
Okay.
This isn't the one I sent. I sent another one by this exact couple.
God, oh my God. Are they trolling?
No,
They're serious?
no. The one
yeah.
I saw one on TikTok. Remember, because the first video that you clicked on, I said was the wrong one. It was supposed to be by one of this couple's when he was talking about a financial advisor, and I can still send it because it's actually really.
Yeah, go send it from your phone real quick. So while you're doing that, I mean, we've kind of beat the dead horse on the 401k talk, but garbage advice. Do not do that. Graysen, just go through, explain if you pull out $100,000 of pre-tax money, what happens there?
Well, let's talk about the biggest thing first, is the time value of that money.
Go ahead. While you're doing that, I'm going to pull it up.
Assuming that he is, assuming he's 30 years old, assuming he's going to retire at 60.
Yeah.
So we have 30 years of growth here. That $90,000.
It was 100, he said.
I thought he said 90.
Either way.
$90,000 would grow to over $1.5 million. He just took $1.5 million away from his retirement.
Mm-hmm. But he's saying he's going to invest in real estate. It's better.
Oh yeah, much better. So now that you only you have all these, you're not even diversified. It's in one sector of the market. I really hope it does well because you put your whole nest egg in there. Mm-hmm. Let's see what happens. What does the government think? So the government gives people incentive to participate in these 401ks. They give incentives to the employers to open them because they know that people are going to try and rely on Social Security alone, and it's not going to be the lifestyle that they want. So they set up these 401k accounts, these tax-deferred money. Yes, tax-deferred means you don't have to pay taxes on that growth, and you even get a tax credit current year. But if you touch that money and don't use it for what it's intended to, you're going to have to pay, one, taxes at current income the year you take it out. So he added $90,000 to his taxable income that year, possibly even pushing him into a different tax bracket, making him pay more taxes.
Most
You're
likely.
also going to pay a 10% pre-withdrawal penalty. 10% that goes directly to the IRS. You gave them money because you didn't use the account as it was intended to use. So now you have, I don't even know what the net value that you took out. You gave up $1.5 million for a current, let's call it 70.
Yeah. And on top of that, too, is that if you really want to, now this is not something we do, and I think it's something if you're going to do it, you should work with a specialist because there's a lot that you have to get right to maintain the tax-free status, but you can buy real estate within your retirement vehicles.
Yes.
You can do that. So
Yes.
people act like you can't have real estate in an IRA. Maybe a little bit hard with a 401k. Okay, I'll give you that. But if that's really the case, hey, maybe you need to find a way to,
But even if you're not going to hold the actual investment, there are ways that you can get all the benefits of the real estate sector.
Yeah, buy a REIT.
Buy a REIT, real estate investment trust.
Yep.
And so now you get your portion of all rental incomes that were received.
Yep.
And you don't have to maintain the property. That's the other thing people do. Yes, it's great. Buy your own investment property. But after 2 or 3, now you're working double duty to make sure everything stays in operation.
And I think too, like with a lot of these guys, when they're talking about this stuff. So first of all, he completely missed the option for Roth 401k contributions. Almost every decent 401k now has the Roth ability. Okay. The second thing too is that when people say your taxes are going to go up, I'm going to be rich, I'm going to have all this money. Guys, think this through. Okay. Let's say you are making $150,000 right now and you're working hard, you know, your household income is $150,000, but maybe you're a younger couple. What does that mean? You have a mortgage, you have some debt, you have young kids, all right? Plus you're saving for retirement. So you need the $150,000 to maintain your style of life. Now let's fast forward to when you're retiring. Okay, now you're retiring, your kids are grown up, your mortgage should be paid if you've been, you know, diligent, or if you've been working with an advisor who helped you do that. So your kids are grown up, your mortgage is paid, your debt's paid, and you're not saving for retirement. So why people say your income is going to go down is because it just doesn't cost as much to maintain your quality of life, because you don't have to pay for a mortgage, you don't have to put a couple, you know, $1,000 away a month for retirement, you're not paying for kids and all their stuff, you're just funding your retirement. So maybe instead of living off of $150,000, now it's not a big deal to live off of $80,000. What did that do? It dropped you from a 22% federal tax bracket down to a 12% tax bracket. So in this exact situation, yes, you are paying less in taxes by waiting till retirement. Now, if that's not your case, now if you're like, hey, I plan on retiring in California, and again, this is another thing, you should really consider where you want to make your residence when you retire if you have any real money. Like, I love Montana, but when I am retired, I'm probably going to relocate to Nevada as my primary residence. Why? Because then I won't have state taxes. That's going to save me, I believe Montana dropped it to 5.65% of our state taxes. So that's going to save me additional taxes right now that I'm deferring in my pre-tax 401k. And then when I get to retirement, I won't be paying that tax anyways. Now, if you're going to move to a state like California to retire, okay, maybe you need to do some additional planning and figure that out. Maybe you want to look at some Roth conversions. There's other things you can do. But what he's talking about, again, for all the reasons we've already discussed, all the match contributions he's missing, the lack of diversification, I'd say is pretty garbage advice. But he's not giving financial advice, so...
Well, and I
Thank
also,
goodness.
yeah, but I also think I did send you the other video, not to beat a dead horse, but it's just kind of going back to like the average person is in. I mean, I feel like a lot of people that are on TikTok and are looking for financial advice and looking at these videos and looking at these people, they're in a 22% tax bracket. And so they're like, holy shit, I'm going to get railed with taxes. And it's like, well,
not really.
Not really. And so I think people are a lot more worried about taxes. Like this advice and a lot of the advice that you're seeing on like tax mitigation, it's for very, very high net worth individuals.
That, and then also too is like, again, if you have a decent advisor, they're going to have you have some non-qualified assets as well. If you're doing things right and you have any serious amount of money, they're probably going to have you get some type of trust as well with these assets so that you can avoid probate upon death. But then also too is that people forget, if you do it right and you've got some pre-tax dollars in a 401k or an IRA, you have some post-tax dollars through a Roth or maybe some Roth conversions, and you have some non-qualified assets that you're not being treated as ordinary income, but instead you're getting treated with capital gains taxes. You can mix and match those things at retirement in the way you receive your income so that you can control what bracket you end up in to a pretty big degree. Mm-hmm. And for the average Main Street investor, that's going to be just fine. Now, good news, if you're making some real money, it's probably because you're running a business, which means that opens up a whole other set of the tax code where now we're looking at deductions. We're looking at what can we do to keep your income as low as possible legally, so you're paying as little in taxes as you're legally allowed to do. So all these things, just like, I love it. And you said this one, she's about to do why finance. All right, same couple.
Well, and last thing on that other one, I feel like that's the thing where a lot of these people are talking about tax mitigation, and then people are like, oh, I need to choose a traditional IRA over a Roth IRA, and it's not necessarily the case for everyone's situation. Yeah. And so just understand that and understand what tax bracket you're in and what's going to be the most appropriate.
And we look at this and we can see that this is just garbage. But what the scary part is this may be where people are getting most of their advice. They
And
don't
you
know.
can't even blame them.
Because some of the things he says are true. Some of the things that people are saying in these are true or half true. They're not giving you the full picture. They're not putting it in perspective of what this means for you and your life. And most people don't know, and they don't know what they don't know. We deal with 401ks a lot, and we take over other 401ks that have already been established, and we see that there's a big lack of education out there on how these work and how to take advantage of them and what you should be doing for that and the rest of your financial life. So please talk to an advisor. Talk to somebody who's licensed and has your best interest.
Yeah, 100%. All right, let's see what this one is. Same couple? All right.
Babe, why do you think financial advisors are scams?
I have never once met a financial advisor who is financially free. Here's how financial advisors work. There is a small percentage of them that are what are called fiduciaries, which means that they actually legally have to give you the best investment and the best stock portfolio and the best mix that is in your best interest. How most of them are compensated, like 90% plus, they're compensated off of commissions for getting you to do certain products and certain stocks and certain mutual funds that they get a percentage off of. So financial advisors have books and they get paid percentages off of the books of these businesses. And so I was just like, also, if you notice, a lot of these financial advisors are just like, come straight out of college and they're like, hey, we want you to go call all the friends, all the people you know, and try to get them to invest with you for stocks. So it's just like, at the end of the day, the financial advisor, I'm like, unless my financial advisors are all business owners with real estate and they are wealthy and they have exited companies for hundreds of millions of dollars, those are the people that advise my finances, not people that are trying to tell you to invest in some mutual fund that they get a percentage off of. Be cautious.
God, this guy is just very boldly putting out garbage shit advice.
Oh my God.
Bro, you should come on the podcast, man. We can talk. Oh my God.
There's a difference, by the way, between financial advisors and just brokers.
Yes, there's a huge difference, but there's also rules. I believe there's a rule that was passed in like 2019.
It's in the comment section, actually, because I was going through it.
Let's see what they said. This is very 2008. Yeah, most of it, exactly. Most of it has to be.
And they talk about that rule, that law that was passed.
Yeah. There's no Reg BI. Yeah, Reg BI. There it is. Exactly. He doesn't know Reg BI. Hey, Google's free. Yeah. Yeah. So again, I'm glad to see in the comments that people are trying to keep people honest, because I've noticed in some of the other ones, same thing. People are like, man, yeah. But again, this is just not the case. So, I mean, I don't even know if I want to say this. I'll just use myself. I won't say how much, but like, again, what does financial freedom look like? You know, when you're building something that is providing advice, and you're like, our philosophy is give away more than we ever take. Like that's a big rule that we have, is I always want to give away more value than we ever take. And so that is capitalism. God bless America. That is how every business should work. And if you're running a business that you're doing that, you're helping people, you're improving their lives, and you're making money to do that, God bless America. And so like I look at like me, Graysen, even you, like our residuals right now are more than enough and more than like what most people would make. So when you want to talk about financial independence, as someone who is financially independent, barring all of my 700 plus households leaving me at once, barring America ceasing to be America, I am financially free, like very financially free. And I'm telling you, like what this guy is saying, it's just not true. It's not that we're going out there and scamming people and taking a huge percentage off of the sale of their assets. Again, this guy's like, oh, this is very 2008 in the comments. Yeah, when I first got started and people were using A-share mutual funds, that was the best thing that was available. It sucked. You had to charge people. It was a commission. That's not the way it works anymore. And I think that this guy's like, oh, all my investment partners are ultra rich people. Like, how many people do you know that got $100 million they cashed out of a business for? Like, that's not the average thing that you're seeing. So I just, oh man, but I'm also seeing some of these comments where people are like, facts, 100%.
I know.
I'm like, are these bots?
This one specifically.
Yeah. Buffett proved the best advisors, mutual fund managers on earth can't just be just investments, the most basic SP. Yeah. This person, again, they're people who say this stuff, they are repeating what they've read one place.
This guy literally says 10 YouTube videos. So it's like, so I feel like,
so if you go out and you search 10 YouTube videos that are going to give you confirmation bias, that are going to tell you exactly what you want to see. Yeah. I understand why most funds look like they're not beating their index. It's for what we explained already. That's why, because they're not all built to beat their indexes. So this type of stuff, it's pretty garbage advice. What he's talking about is it's just not correct. I mean, I don't know. I look at this stuff and I'm like, what do we say to the average person again? Like, who is just, to me, it's like going to your auto mechanic. Could all of us, if we really wanted to, watch YouTube videos, figure out how to fix our cars, figure out everything about it, could we do that? Yeah, but in the time that took, how much of our life did we waste? Now we have to pay for all these tools to make the job easy. Like, I think about the tools that we have that we're using, the thousands and thousands of hours of research that we have done over the course of our careers, the amount of team meetings we've had to like come up with the solutions of what we're doing.
And hundreds of client scenarios. We've seen people in every single walk of life with every single type of finance.
And I think that people miss that too, is that, okay, so like I'll use myself as an example. I would say on an average day, I probably have like 3 client meetings. Some more, some days are 5 or 6, some days 1 or 2. But let's just say 5 days a week, probably about 3 on average, where I'm talking to completely different people, completely different walks of life, completely different politics, completely different religions, completely different areas of the United States. And you do that year after year after year. And that's another thing I'll talk to people about is, like I said, we have close to about 750 households we work with. And when I got out of the Army in 2016, I started from scratch. Like, I had 0 clients 10 years ago. All right. And then when Graysen and I partnered up, we were probably sitting at about like 300-ish, 350. And since we've done that, we've more than doubled. I would say we've probably at least doubled what we had. And the value has gone up tremendously. And then Josie came in and we lost a lot. It was really
bad.
They're like, who is this?
Not only are they paying me, they're like losing.
Oh God, yeah. It's just
Robert's I'm
just
hemorrhaging
a mass
money.
exodus. No, but even Josie, you're starting to see some success. Like yesterday, I mean, look at you bringing in, your stuff.
Couple
hundred, yeah. Like, and again, those are real numbers. Like for a new advisor, like to start bringing in, where you're bringing in, even just $300,000 to $500,000 a month of new assets. That's real. Like, that is real, and that's what you're starting to do here. What's that?
Quit scamming people.
The link is in my bio.
Yeah.
So
but again, it's one of those things where it's like people miss like the value of just experience. And Graysen, you sat in on an appointment with me yesterday, which is, and then I was laughing because you're like, oh my God, you made that look so easy, or whatever you said. And again, you have just as much of a knowledge base, but I'm primarily the one who meets with clients. You're starting to take over more of that role. But it's just like, dude, I have done this so many thousands of times. Like, you think to get 700 households to say yes, just anyone who's done any type of sales, how many thousands of presentations do you think we have done and had people say no?
And Rob, what do you think our turnover rate is for clients?
I track it's less than like 3% every year. It's like usually where it's a 98% retention rate every year.
And it's so, I also like when, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but like you can, how easy it is to grab other people's clients.
Yeah, it is. It's because, again, this is a perfect example of how can we add more value? What can we do to set ourselves up so we're not just the traditional advisor? Like one of the first videos we watched where the guy's like, yeah, you're going over and you're talking to your advisor and he's selling you some Vanguard funds that you could buy for yourself. I would be pissed. I'd be pissed about that. I would be upset. It's like,
and it's true. We see a lot of Vanguard.
We see Vanguard all the time. And there's not
Vanguard
bad.
It's not nothing against Vanguard.
Yeah.
No.
It's the process of what he's charging you for versus what you're getting.
Yes, exactly. And so I have also seen it where we have clients come in, and I get why people get upset. All right. My wife's a realtor. So it's kind of the same thing with them, is that there are some realtors who are garbage realtors. They don't do anything. And then they want to charge you 6% on the sale of your house. Like, you didn't do a thing for me. Why am I paying you that? And the same thing with advisors. I've had clients come in from other firms where the advisor is making more money than the client. That is wrong. That is the wrong answer. Okay. And so with us, the way that we want to approach things again is, one, understanding we are stewards of the assets. Okay. So the client has to be the biggest winner. It's not our money, it's their money. So we're always going to put their interests first. All right. But also understanding too that, like, hey, if you're making money first, so are we. So like, let us help you find ways to do that better. Let us help you not make mistakes. Like I'm thinking of one of our clients. I know I've told this story before in one of our podcasts, but I have a client who, when she retired and when I think this was around 2022 when the market was really getting crushed, and she called me up, was like, Robert, I want to put all my money in gold. And if anyone is, this mentality that gold is this like super stable investment.
Or real estate.
Yeah, or real estate or any of these things. But like gold especially, precious metals especially. Just go look at the history of gold prices, guys. If you do it, you're going to see that towards the late 70s, early 80s, if you would have bought gold there, you would have had to hold on to it until around, I think it was around like the early 2000s for it to make a profit. It's like 30 years you'd have to hold on to the money. And that was what I was showing her. I was like, hey, can you afford to buy something where one, you're probably going to pay about a 7.5% upfront commission, if not more. You're then, so just to break even, you need to make at least 7 to 8%. All right. You're then in a position where you may have to hold this for decades at a time before you ever make any money.
And can I interject too? Because I think people have this idea that they're holding the goal when oftentimes they're not even holding the gold.
Yeah. If you're buying it in an IRA, which is what she wanted to do, you are not holding that gold. It's going to a facility that's going to hold that for you. Most of these facilities are on coastal states, so you don't maintain your money. So people are like, well, I want to hold my gold in the event of a market collapse. Well, you're not doing it through an IRA. You can't do it that way. And so again, just the advice of being there, having someone who has seen every situation, someone who is consistently researching, and that's the thing that's been really exciting with our business is that as we've grown these last couple of years where we still do a lot of Main Street, middle American families. That's still our bread and butter, but we also have people who are coming in with like FU money now. It's like the people who are coming in real money. And so as I've seen for myself, as I've made more money and had to be exposed to more situations for myself, and as my clients have grown and like who I'm working with, you start to learn more about the way these things work. And so the same way you can go to a mechanic and they can fix your problem in a couple of hours, it would have taken you weeks and weeks and weeks to do that. I had my neighbor at my old house. I love them. If you guys see this, all right. Tom, Liam, sorry if you guys see this, I'm going to put you on blast. But Liam, hardworking kid, all right? He had this Subaru that was up on blocks for no joke, like 3 months because he was repairing something himself. And him and his dad, Tom's super, like he was a mechanic in the Air Force. He can fix anything given enough time. That's the thing though, given enough time. And so I watched Liam work on his car for no joke, like 2 to 3 months. He was working on this a couple hours every day after school. And Tom one day was talking to me because I was like, I'm going to take my car in to get the brakes done. He's like, oh, we could do that. Let's put it on the jacks. We could get this done in a couple, we'll just go buy this. But I'm like, no. I just don't know how to do this. I don't want to even risk something going wrong. It's cheaper for me to take it to a professional who I trust, who I know has my best interest at heart, and to let him do his job and then just move on with my life. And I think that's a lot with financial advisors as well.
Because in that scenario, what if you got something wrong?
I would know nothing of what to do.
Again, it's your life savings.
Yeah.
It's not even a car. It's not a hobby. It's not a
let's say
project.
it was the car and it was something with the brakes that you had done. Mm-hmm. What if you got something wrong? You wouldn't know until it was too late.
Yeah, until you couldn't stop.
And that's it's literally the way things are with finances. So you may take somebody's advice, and
it might not be
later
the
down
wrong
the road,
advice
you find
for
out
that
that was
person.
not right.
Yeah, but it might be the wrong advice for you because just because their information is correct, it's not correct contextually to your life.
Exactly. And here's another thing, guys. If people are online telling you to do a specific fund, buy a specific stock, do this specific strategy.
Click the specific link.
They are not financial advisors. An advisor cannot make a blanket recommendation because what's right in one person's situation is not right in another. And I can't say on air, go buy this stock, go buy this fund. This is all you need to do. If somebody's telling you that, they're not a real advisor.
Yeah, 100%. It has to be bespoke to your situation. It has to be customized to your unique goals. All right, guys, we're going to finish with this one because I thought it was funny. It's just perfect. Let's see here. This is how I feel sometimes. Small business owners. All right. Guys, let's finish up with this one. True or false? Kind of true. Oh, God.
Small business owners have to be content creators to get sales.
Small business owners, after learning, they have to be content creators to get sales. Just crying while they dance.
That's
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's accurate. That fact check true. Fact check true. I as someone who is
You don't have to, but it's like, what route do you want to take? Do you want to take the harder route? Do you want to take the easier route? Do you want to take this nuanced route? Because social media is nuanced and everybody's using it for marketing. So it's like, you don't have to, but it makes it easier.
I think about that. I mean, obviously we're doing this. We've put a
Well,
ton
I
of
don't
time
think
into
this is not something we're doing saying, okay,
we don't
come work with us now. But what the great part about what we're doing is it allows people to see us. It allows people to get to know us before they get to know us. And then they see guys, we're the #1 ranked firm in Montana.
Let's go.
Yeah, okay.
America.
Now you can find our podcast.
Casually drop that in.
You can see
Just
our
gonna drop,
faces.
yeah.
You can get to know us a little bit, feel like you get to know us, and then come talk to us.
That's really, I mean, people just, I'm giving away my playbook and our playbook. Like when I think about it, I see how hard all of us work. Like even Josie, you've been crushing it. And just with everything you have going on, every time we ask you to do something, you do it. I know it's hard. I know we've just kind of thrown you in the deep end on a couple different things. But you're doing a great job. And Graysen, Katie and I were talking about this last night, is like just how much like we've been able to grow as a business because of what you have done and the control, like the fact that you've taken control of the complete back end side of the business, and just, it has changed everything. And so I look at all this stuff as like, if people got to know us and they saw the approach we have and they saw that we're not selling things that we don't believe in, but that we genuinely care, that we genuinely want to help the people that we're working with, because we know that when you make more money, we make more money. That is the punchline. And so it puts us in this spot where it's like, I am looking for ways to leverage that. I am looking for ways to give people the opportunity to see what's going on, to hear those conversations like we've talked about, to be a fly on the wall, and just to see like, hey, there's really good people out there who are going to be honest, who are never going to lie to you, and who are going to show you what you can actually do to put yourself in the best position. And, like Graysen casually dropped in being the top rated wealth management firm. It's true. Google it. It's true. And it's not a lie. Like go look at the numbers. There's a reason we have just under 200, 5-star Google reviews. But I see it with our clients. And I wish people could see, like, this is actually something, and I haven't brought it up to you yet, but I want to start having some of our clients come in and do more testimonials and tell their stories, because
like video testimonials.
100%.
Because how many of our clients that we've had 2, 3, 5 years have told us how grateful they are that they talk to us, how much better position they are. People who were living paycheck to paycheck when we talk to them, and now they have that financial security. Sure, they still have to work. They couldn't quit working today. But if anything happened, they're covered.
Yep. I think too of like the death claims we've paid from insurance policies. Like I think of that. I think of people like you're saying who have emergency funds. I think of people who have set up accounts for their kids to see those grow. I think of people who we're talking to are retiring.
Well, my job is to talk to people who've been clients for 10 years. And a lot of the times, like, the conversation with them is, yes, they're more surprised where they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know how well I was doing. I didn't know, where they don't actually know what they're on pace to achieve. And it's usually more than they thought.
And that's, again, why do people, like, think about that. And you're spot on. And that's something that's so true, is that we have clients all the time who will be like surprised at how much their accounts have in them, because they just don't look at it. And so when people are like, oh, paying an advisor is no reason to do that, it's like, okay, well, now let's look at the average person who is so busy with their normal lives, with their kids, with their job, with all the things that they are trying to do. They're just not going to pay attention to their finances. And so to hire someone like a firm like ours, or if there's someone out there that they trust, like just to have an advisor who's actually steering them right, people don't mind that we're getting paid, because when we show them what their historical returns would be after fees, they're like, oh yeah, that's more than fair. Like, that's great. And then it's like completely hands off. I don't have to worry about that. We have an entire team, a team of 130 plus people who are actively managing these accounts. It's like, for the average investor out there, and even for people, like, we have a lot of people who come in with some pretty serious money. And that's another misconception, I think, is people like, oh, these people who are rich have all the money and must have all the answers. It's not. And there was a big part of my career where I was talking to people for early in my career, all my clients had more money than me. I was broke. I just got out of the Army. I had nothing. I was like starting from ground zero. Now it's pretty rare that, I mean, some of our clients still have more money than what I'm making. And, but I'm kind of, God bless America. Like the capitalism has worked for me. It works. All right.
Well, and there's a study too that says that more than half of high net worth individuals are doing only 3/4 of high net worth individuals are doing half of what
you're
they could.
talking, I believe it's I
don't remember.
It's like First Trust Bank. I know the study you're talking about. What it says is that 50% of high net worth individuals high net worth individuals, so people with $5 million of investable assets or more, they're only doing like 50% of what they could be doing. There's also another stat that shows that something like 70% is like 69% of high net worth individuals are self-made in America. So again, a lot of people who have money later on in their lives didn't have a lot of money up front. And so I think to have someone that they could trust, it's the same reason you hire anyone you can trust on anything, whether that's having a great doctor, having a great attorney, having a great realtor, having all these things. Like, you need people you can trust. And that's kind of what I'm hoping people see with this, is like, this is who we really are. This is our genuine, authentic selves. These are the type of conversations we're going to have. And that's kind of like, if people want to have that type of relationship or that type of an advisor, someone they know this is going to be honest with them, like, okay, cool. We'd love to talk to you and see if we're a good fit, because that's kind of how we're approaching this as well for our clients. But I like this. This was fun.
This was fun.
Did you guys like doing this?
Yeah.
I hope that. I mean, I had fun. So if no one else likes it.
What was the most glaring piece of bad advice you saw today?
Oh boy, with the fraud up front, right out the gate.
The fraud, yeah.
Yeah.
The life insurance?
No. The guy who's like,
oh my gosh, I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
Oh God.
You know what I realized I did wrong on this is I'm going to have to go back and figure out is all the links in the order we went through them so that I could tell Austin. I was like, God dang it. I'd have to tell him. So I have to figure that out. But
sorry, Austin.
No, I mean, it's not going to be bad for him. It's going to be bad for me because I got to figure it out. So what about you? What was the worst one you saw?
The propagating the fear of talking to a financial advisor for the fees. Because, I mean, anything that's worth getting done for you, you're going to pay for it. I mean, if you were going to have someone come paint your house, would you rather pay them to paint your house, or would you rather pay them to say, this is how you do it, and here's the paint and brushes?
That's a great analogy. I like that.
And then you have to do all the work, and you're responsible for the entire outcome.
Man, I'm going to start using that, Graysen.
Yeah,
coming from someone who used to be a house painter.
Yeah, I have that experience as well. Yes.
Oh, man.
So, I mean, the point is, you're paying for a service. And this service is designed to be a long-term relationship. And we're fortunate that all of our clients, I can't think of a single one that we have now, that are not just great people that we enjoy having conversations with every time we talk.
Most of those people tend to leave.
Yeah, that's true.
There's been a few of them who have left over the years.
Yeah. But, I'd say the biggest glaring advice is that it's somehow wrong to pay an advisor fee when you can go out and buy these things for yourself. Sure, go ahead. God bless America.
Yeah. Josie?
Probably the lady that's quite literally telling the IRS that she's not going to pay taxes.
That's not gonna
because it's like, okay, don't pay your taxes, but you're sending a letter. You're telling them where you live, where to send the mail, where to collect, and quite literally like asking to be audited.
Yeah, that was.
I mean, there's people that don't pay their taxes, but at least they try and like keep it on the down low.
Right?
And then you post it on TikTok too, because like that's even worse. Somebody's gonna see. Oh my god.
Yeah, you'd have messed up, Aaron. You'd have messed up. So
it's like also what people post on the internet's crazy.
Like yeah, very good. Good reference.
Like
I got it.
Did she get there?
I know what that is.
I don't know if she really knows.
Aaron.
Yeah,
I know what that is.
Jay Quellen. Yeah. Man, the internet is so much fun though. Like there's just so much good stuff out there that just keeps it fun. But
I think it's crazy what people are posting. Like this guy's like admitting to fraud online and posting it.
I think though that there's some people who are just, I don't know, they don't understand that consequences are real. And so this is the social media world we live in. And so that's kind of the reason too with the content that we're creating. I mean, we're still new to this. I mean, we've been doing this for like 6 months or so, and we're definitely starting to figure things out. But I just want positivity. I want to post stuff that keeps people thinking, that keeps people excited to come back. I want people to know that when we have a guest on or anytime they tune in, it's going to be fun. It's going to be something they learn.
This is a lot of content, a lot of financial content we got into, but it's still fun. And I think that there's a stigma against, our whole industry, that it's dry, that it's boring, that it's impossible to understand. And so I like how we're bringing some fun to it.
It's fun too, because I feel like for me, it's forcing me, I don't know, like I've been thinking, and now just kind of as we're wrapping up, like I've been thinking more with our social media stuff, like how I want to present stuff. And it's like, you know what? I always want it to be authentic. I never want to do something that I normally wouldn't do just for the gram, It's like, no, if I wasn't going to do that anyways, then I don't want to do it, But it is fun because like the things I like to do, I think are good times. And I think it's like going back to the goal of why I want to do this podcast is really to like show people when we're talking about like, Let's Talk Wealth podcast. Like wealth isn't, I make $1 bazillion. Wealth is, I have a great life. I'm financially free. No one can put their thumb on me. I feel confident with the direction I'm heading in. I'm able to enjoy my life with the people I care about. And I'm able to spend time, doing the things that I love. And I think that that's what we give to people. That's why I love our job, is that we're able to show people, and even if they're not there just yet, we're able to show people a plan and a step-by-step plan they can follow where that will become their reality. And so, and as someone who, I never want to be like, look at me, I'm doing, but like, man, as someone who 10 years ago, I was living in like income-based housing, like not Section 8, but like housing that was based on our income. And we were at the bottom tier. We have no money. We were like dirt poor, no clients, working like crazy just to try and make it happen. And then just 10 short years of like hard work and just doing the right thing. Like it is completely different, completely different. And I want people to know that that's very possible, no matter where you're starting, what you're doing, what career path you're in, like you can do something big. And I don't know, I want people to see that. So, and I feel like we're having fun. So for you guys too, though, I want to start, we got to get you guys, getting me more lifestyle stuff so people could see what you're doing.
I do. I've been kind of not quite a hermit, but I don't really do the social media. Haven't yet recently.
Yeah.
Primarily because I'm so bad at attention that I just get distracted in there, and with as busy life as we have with work and families, it eats up a lot of time.
Yeah.
But we do a lot of fun things. My kids and I, we get a lot of fun out there, and it'd be fun to show that.
I think too. I mean, even if you were showing things like whether it's the scouting stuff you guys do or just golfing, that's even for me. Like I think that I like to shoot. I like to do jujitsu. I like to do stuff with my son where we're going outside camping or hiking or doing all those things. And just like I think that there's so much negativity and so much bad stuff out there that sometimes it's good to just see people like, hey, there are normal people living normal lives and having a fun time, and that's available too. And the American dream is still alive and well if you're willing to self-educate, work hard. With AI now, I don't know how anyone could feel like there's no opportunity. Like you want to get rich, it's there. Just, man, anything you want to learn. As someone who has self-taught myself how to do all the podcast stuff, and I'm still learning, but it's like, I don't think I could have done this without AI, being there to help me. So, man, this was fun. We went for about 2 hours. Good talk, I think.
Yeah. Perfect.
Guys, as we were wrapping up, like we were saying before, check us out, letstalkwealthpodcast.com. So it's letstalkwealthpodcast.com. If you would like to connect, or you are looking for someone that you could partner with and that can give you honest advice and is never going to steer you wrong and is always going to put your goals, your wants, and your needs first when it comes to your financial plan, that is us. Visit us over at Nexus Wealth Management. That is our work website. You can find us there. You can get on our calendars, and all of us are easy to get a hold of. So thank you guys so much. Josie, Graysen, anything?
No, thanks for watching, guys. This is fun. I hope you got something out of it, and I hope you can start having as much fun as we do, picking out the fallacies and some of the things people post.
Yeah, if you guys see any good ones too, feel free to share them with us on socials. I would love to see
or
them.
Questions. Some of these you're like, I don't know what is the. I don't know what the link was that he posted on his video. It's like link in my bio is the life insurance one. So sometimes like people might not know what that is, and maybe they want
Yeah, second
to know.
opinions. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's also something there too. So we're happy to be a resource, a value-added resource for you on your personal finances. We do a ton of 401k business as well. So if you are a plan administrator who is responsible for those types of decisions and you are looking for a way to optimize your financial wellness program, hey, we are here. We are the team you're looking for. I promise you guys, you're going to be so grateful that you reached out. We will take care of you. So with that, thank you guys for watching, and we will see you on the next episode. Take care.
Bye, guys.
Bye.